Hi, welcome to 2015 Adobe Illustrator Classroom Notebook. We're on Lesson 6. The first part was practice with the pen tool, and we've already kind of had a video for that, so I'm not going to film it again. But the exercise is a bit different. So we're creating artwork with the pen tool. So I have Lesson 6 files already downloaded. And if we go to 1, the end, I'm going to reset essentials really quick. Set a bunch of stuff open that I didn't need. And you're going to be creating with the pen tool. Don't want you libraries. This right here. So we're going to go to start. I'm going to command negative to zoom out. And like before, we kind of have a connect the dots kind of thing going on. So we are going to save this file as coffeeshop.ai. I'm going to go to File, Save As. First initial last name dash coffee shop. And save. And this way I can hit Command S multiple times and save my progress because, as we always say, Illustrator may crash. So we are going to look to kind of zoom in on Artboard 1, a little kind of fill the cup within our screen. We're going to go into our Layers panel and make sure so we kind of talked about the Layers panel before. We're going to get more used to it, but you have your artboards, which are separate entities, and then layers, which work within themselves, and then you can even toggle down and you have all your groups, lines, and whatnot. It kind of keeps things organized. And in my previous videos, you see me, I'm a big fan of layers, where I can find things very directly. So we want to make sure we are selected on the artwork layer, so if you're trying to work without starting there, it's going to have some difficulties. In our control panel, we want to make sure our fill is none. So, because we're creating a closed path, and there's open paths and closed paths. And open paths are like lines, the spirals, pen shapes. And when you have a fill, it kind of makes your object that you're creating very different. When you're doing a closed path is when you want that fill, just like when you're creating a rectangle or a circle. So there's open paths that don't kind of connect to each other. They're lines. And then there's closed paths that connect back into each other, those anchor points meet, and those are going to be like shapes. And so when we're working with creating something large, we kind of need the information behind us. It's good to start off with the closed path with a no fill, zero fill. If you already have one going, you can continue. It's going to make it difficult. So we're going to make sure our stroke weight is 1. Cool. And we're just going to get started. We're going to take the pen tool, keyboard shortcut P. And you're going to click on A. And while we're holding down our cursor, you're going to click and drag to the red dot. And you're creating your first curve. Because remember before we were taking all sorts of points. And as you can see, my path wants to continue. And we want to take it to B. As we click on B, oh, I got cloud updates to take care of. You're going to click and drag to that red point. And then, same thing for C. Click and drag. We're just actually going to click. Now, if we hold down the Shift key, it's going to kind of make it, constrain it to those. You can hear my dog barking. And we're just going to hold down Shift, so it's going to follow a straight line to D. And I've actually clicked and I need to go again. So if I click again on top of G, I can kind of click and drag over to that anchor point. And then now I can move it again. So if you clicked and you didn't create a curve, you can reset kind of by clicking on those anchor points you just created. Now I'm going to go to E. And I believe it's going to be the same thing. If I kind of do that, it's going to want to curve it more. So I'm just going to click on E and then re-click on my anchor point. As you notice, my cursor has a little like pointer arrow V next to it. That's the convert anchor point tool. So we made an anchor point, we're going to convert it to partial of a curve, kind of. So, and I can see it says anchor there, and I'm just going to click and drag that handle up to that red spot. And there it's going to be a curve. You can always go back and take that convert anchor point tool when you're finished. The convert anchor point tool is really helpful with working with curves. And the pen tool. The pen tool, again, it's kind of difficult. So we're going to click and drag to F. And maybe, yeah, right there. So it's kind of following that path. And then so we're going to create another smooth point for G. We're actually on page 168. So it's kind of good to kind of follow the book because you're learning different things with each step. So we're going to click, so I'm going to read the text first and then we're going to go. Begin dragging from point G to the red dot. When the pointer reaches the red dot without letting go, so I'm still clicking and holding my mouse, you're going to press the Option for Mac or Alt for Windows and continue dragging from the red dot to the gold dot to make one directional handle longer. While this pointer reaches the gold dot, release the mouse button and then the key. So it's going to be kind of difficult. So I'm going to take it to the right there, hold down Alt or Option, and I can actually modify this right there. So I'm getting more ability with my curves. It's going to be difficult. You can always kind of go back and make these adjustments with the Convert Anchor Point tool and the Direct Selection tool. And once I've done that, I can take it to H, which I'll take it H by first dragging to the gold dot. So it kind of has it backwards. You should, it had it going to red, then gold, and now we're going gold to red. So take it to the gold. Then hold down the Alt or Option to move that over there. And then for I, back to the gold, then to the red. So it's kind of having a little backwards. So gold, hold down Alt or Option to I. Now we got a beautiful curve right there. Take it to J, and this is just a normal curve. And then K, we're going to click on K. We're going to hold down Shift to constrain those proportions. Up to L, normal. And then when we take it back to A, you're going to actually pull to that last curve. And it still wants to continue. So, whenever it wants to continue, you can hold down the Alt or Option key, and it kind of resets right there. So we have a nice shape. If I kind of zoom in, I noticed that I didn't actually, it's still not connecting here, which is fine. We can make that adjustment, and this is outside the text, because I didn't kind of link them together. So I'm going to go to my Direct Selection tool, keyboard shortcut A. And I can click on my anchor points. And I can just click and drag them over to each other. And I can actually move my handles over too. Now, I'm not going to be such a stickler on your coffee cup, but definitely try multiple times if it's not right the first, because that's how you learn. You do the same thing multiple times and it becomes easier. So the next video, we're going to be doing the drawing with the curvature tool, let you guys kind of play around with the cup, redo it a few times so you can find comfort in this process. So we just save it and then we'll be on to the next video.